Caste is not synonymous with race. It's
Yeah.
not synonymous with class. It encompasses those things. Caste is a structure, and you have a really fantastic metaphor that I'm not the only person to latch on to, but this idea of caste being an old house.
Yes. The idea of our having inherited this old house known as the United States of America, our country, is one that helps us to see our country differently. It allows us
Mhm.
to see that we live in a structure
Mhm.
that we did not ourselves build, but we've inherited it. You know, when you inherit an old house, you take possession of an old house, you may then get that report from a building inspector who says it's got some uneven pillars and joists and beams, it's got some frayed wiring, it's got some corroded pipes and plumbing. And then once you take possession of that, you did not do that. You did not create those structural problems. But once you take possession of that house, it's your responsibility.
Renowned American author and journalist Isabel Wilkerson is well known for her examination of historical and social issues, especially those pertaining to systematic injustice, race, and class. Her writing has received praise for its rich narrative and in-depth research, even holding a place in Oprah Winfrey's book club, allowing it to reach an even broader audience. Winfrey even claimed, "Caste is the most important book I've ever selected for my book club. It should be a required reading from humanity." I believe that this is a beneficial addition to the class curriculum and an informative read for audiences across the globe. The daughter of a Tuskegee Airman, Wilkerson was born in 1961 in Washington, D.C. She was editor-in-chief for her school newspaper while she attended Howard University. In 1994, Wilkerson became the first African-American woman to receive a Pulitzer Prize for journalism for her writing at the New York Times, where she also served as an editor and writer. Her tales frequently emphasize how larger social forces have influenced human experiences, with a special emphasis on inequality and ethnicity. Wilkerson switched to writing long-form narratives, employing thorough research and interviews to create comprehensive stories that link systematic structures with individual stories. After her critically acclaimed debut, The Warmth of Other Suns, The Epic Stories of America's Great Migration, in 2010, Wilkerson's second major book, the book I'm focusing on, is called Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents, and that was published in 2020. Caste examines the long-standing hierarchies that Wilkerson believes influence American culture and also connects them to her own experiences and to caste systems around the world, including those in Nazi Germany and India. During my sophomore year of high school, my African American literature class read the whole book, but for the function of a future literature by American women writers of colors class, I believe focusing on one or two aspects is best. Wilkerson breaks down the book by different parts, with chapters falling within those parts. Specifically, I would add Part 3, the 8 pillars of caste, to class material because each part is about 5 pages long and gives an in-depth description and analysis of the unfortunate pillars of caste in our society. On page 99, Wilkerson states, "There are the historic origins, the pillars upholding a belief system, the piers beneath the surface of the caste hierarchy. As these tenets took root in the firmament, it did not matter so much whether the assumptions were true, as most were not." I believe these pillars mark the inequalities and injustices that for centuries white society has seen as acceptable. From talking about divine will and the laws of nature to dehumanization and stigma, Wilkerson argues that each pillar reinforces how certain aspects of society can make people of color feel lesser than others. Wilkerson highlights that the United States has a caste system that firmly establishes and upholds hierarchy, placing Black Americans at the bottom, independent of race and class, corresponding to the interview that I opened with. The book ends with a proposal for systemic reform and collective consciousness to end caste systems. It was a nominee for multiple awards and acclaimed by celebrities like Oprah Winfrey and director Ken Burns. The book inspired readers to consider race and inequality in novel ways and generated debates in academia and activism. As a result, I see this book fit perfectly in this class as it will produce debate and progress to learn more about literature by African American women writers of color. Thank you.